Hello everyone. Now it is time to set up our first plane. First, I'll go to the Blueprints folder and find this main aircraft blueprint. This is the main blueprint for all kinds of aircraft, not just the plane. Please do not move, duplicate, copy, edit, or rename this file. With every update I release, this file will be overwritten and updated. So, to create aircraft that can adapt to future changes, we should create child blueprints from this one. To do so, I'll right-click on it and select Create Child Blueprint class. Name this anything you want and move it to any folder you want. Let's open this child. If it opens like this, click on Open Full Blueprint Editor. I'll open a content browser here. I'll also activate the Viewport tab so we can visualize everything. Let's see what we have here. Here in the Components section, we have this tree of components. As you can see, this is a template for a plane with 3 propellers, 3 wheels, 2 ailerons, 2 elevators, and 1 rudder. We have a body mesh and aileron section, wheel section, rudder section, propellers or rotors section, and finally elevators section. Any extra mesh you add under these categories will act like that category. In other words, you can have an unlimited number of parts under each category. So, for example, if I need 1 more propeller for my plane, like 2 on each wing, I simply duplicate one of these with Ctrl-D and name it anything I want. Please note that you cannot rename or delete the parent parts in the child blueprint, but you can leave them empty, and create your parts with your own preferred naming. So again, any mesh under each category will act like that category. I'll delete this extra propeller because I don't need it. First, I'll click on this body component and drag my body mesh here. It is set in the viewport. Let's set this right aileron by selecting it and dragging the mesh on this static mesh input. Remember we exported the right aileron in our modeling app. I remember we placed the pivot where the hinge is, so I'll consider that when placing it. Let's go to different 2D views and rotate and move it until it is where it should be on the wing. Let's also do the left one. I'm placing this by hand, but you can also copy the location from the right one and paste it for the left one and make the Y location negative. Can you see how it is not aligning properly? That's because we are using the right aileron for the left side, so we need to mirror it on the x-axis. To do so, I'll unlock this uniform scale and make the scale on the x-axis -1. Moving on. Let's do the wheels. I'll select each of these, one by one, and rotate and move them to their intended location. If all the wheels are the same size, please make sure you set the same Z value for all of them, so when the plane is on the ground, all of them touch the ground. We're done with the wheels. Moving on to the rudder. This one might be a bit tricky, but don't forget, the pivot is where the hinge is, so connect it to the tail from the edge your pivot is on. You better do it with local rotation, not the world rotation. Okay, done. Next, propellers. And then the elevators. First, let's do the right one because our mesh is for the right. and then the left one, and don't forget to mirror it on X-axis. Now we're done with all the parts. Let's compile, save, and check our plane. I'll drag one to my level. Ailerons take part in the plane's roll. So, when I change the roll, they should react. They should move in a way that you feel they are lazy and align with the wing with a bit of delay, like this. If it was not moving like this and it was reversed, just go to the aircraft setup section and make the aileron's rotation multiplier negative. I'll make it negative so you can see what the incorrect movement looks like. In real life, first, these parts rotate and then the air resistance makes the plane change rotation. But since we cannot predict the plane movements, these parts rotate based on the plane rotation. And to be honest, it's not much of a difference. Moving on, when the plane changes pitch, these elevators are responsible for it. And as you can see, they are moving correctly, looking like they are lazy and aligning with a bit of delay. When the plane changes yaw, this rudder is responsible for it. But that doesn't look right. The rudder is rotating ahead of the plane. So now, we need to set this rudder's rotation multiplier negative. You can set it in the blueprint so it'll apply to all the instances, not just this one in the level. Now it's working correctly, looking lazy and all good. You can see how air resistance works here. When this rudder rotates to this side, it creates some resistance for the air and the air pushes the tail the other way. To check the wheels, turn on the wheels rotation toggle in the flying category. And just move the plane. It might be a bit blurry, so I'll make this wheel a bit bigger so you can see better. If a wheel was rotating reversed, just open the blueprint and rotate that wheel 180 degrees around the Z-axis and compile and save. And to check the propellers, just increase this propeller's speed parameter. I think we're done with our plane. We will go through all of these parameters in the upcoming videos.